So, what was the first time that you saw that trouble was brewing in
Well,
Zanzibar?
I was too young to know anything about politics. But one weekend, my mom's mom, my grandmother on my mother's side, said, to send me over to her. She wanted to spend a weekend with me. So while I was there, that's where the revolution started. We heard gunfire, we saw fire, and the area where we were living in, where my father and my mother and my grandfather, where they had their businesses. Now, Zanzibar, you have your stores downstairs and your house upstairs. So most of the people live above their businesses. So if you have a coffee shop downstairs, good chance that the owner is living on top of his coffee shop. So our clothing stores were downstairs, our textile store, and we lived on the top. So that particular area for the politicians at that time was a trouble area because they didn't vote for the right party. And the revolutionary that did the revolution in Zanzibar, they showed a lot of hatred to that area. So they came out and they killed a lot of people, they hit a lot of people, they murdered a lot of people.
You saw a lot of this?
Well, I was lucky I didn't see it. I heard about it.
Yeah.
I saw it at the later time when we went down the street because I wasn't with my parents at that particular weekend.
Yeah.
So we couldn't get hold of my parents, my brother, my sister. They were all
So, how far was your grandparents' house from here?
only 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
But my grandparents, they lived in an area that was not very financially good area. It was more of a medium to low income area.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of peaceful people there. They were not businessmen. The area that was attacked were all the foreign, Indian, Middle Eastern businessmen, very well-to-do, wealthy people lived there. So during the revolution, they were all kicked out of the house in the middle of the night. Our cars were nationalized. Nationalized means the government takes your car away.
Yeah.
Our property was nationalized. That means the government it doesn't make any difference. You own the house or not. It belongs to the government. Nothing belongs to you. My parents and my siblings were kicked out on the street. And everything in the house, in the clothing store, everything was taken over by the revolutionary. In fact, you brought to my attention, I think, how many thousand people were murdered at that time?
I don't recall the exact amount, but yeah, too many.
Yeah.
Way too many.
Maybe I'm mistaken. But
Yeah.
I think it was about 20,000.
Yeah. Well, the revolution was a nightmare for
it was one of the worst thing.
Yeah.
I don't even want my enemies to go through it.
Right.
It was so harsh and
Yeah.
people crying all over the streets. People could not find their family members.
So you mentioned to me before that they had taken your dad and your mom
Yes.
away.
They had taken my dad, my mom, my sibling, my brother who was like maybe 2-3 weeks old, and my sister was 2 years old, and my grandfather was in the same area. But as soon as the revolution started, my grandfather, my grandmother, they just walked to the nearest mosque or church because that was the safest place to be in. My father, of course, being young at that time, a little bit more stubborn and hard-headed and more stronger than my grandfather, he stayed to see what was happening. But that's what happened. They took everybody. There was not a jail big enough, so they locked everybody up in a soccer field. It was surrounded by barbed wire, and they kept police with instruction, shoot if somebody moves.
How did you feel as a child seeing all this?
Well, when you are a little boy,
Yeah.
and you're going through revolution, you're going through hard times, you don't know how to feel. You don't know how to think because you are so scared out of your mind. You don't know if you're going to see your daddy. You don't know if you're going to see your mommy. You don't know if you're going to see your baby sister.
Yeah.
You have no idea. And my grandparents had no answers. And that time, it was not a modern society that they are, you can see a video of something, or we never even had a radio station over there that probably would broadcast it. And there was no phones.
No TV either.
No TV, no phones, no refrigerators, nothing. So it's very quiet and everybody's afraid to go into each other's area. But as days went on, and a lot of people that ran to the mosque and the church and places of religion, they were all staying there. You could hear some rumors. They're all being held on a soccer field. It's 100 degrees warm. Some people were getting heat stroke, dying, disease. Like my younger brother was 2-3 weeks old.
Yeah.
And he was wearing a T-shirt. And after being in that sun for such a long time, his T-shirt became part of his skin.
Yep.
They had to surgically move the T-shirt out. So when you're going through that, it's like it feels it's going very slow at the same time very fast.
Yeah, it's a very frightening situation.